The sex ratio measure the number of the males and the number of females. Getting my point? Now, why do you have gender imbalance? Gender imbalance is you can say you have a more male as compared to female. Okay. Now, what are the reason you can say of gender imbalancement? Number one, violence towards female. Okay, you kill the woman. The reason could be honor killings. Okay, then rapes. Sex specific immigration. More males immigrate to a country looking for a work. It could be another reason that you have a gender distribution. Like if for example you have a 50% male and female in Pakistan, okay, you can't keep it to the end year. Why? Because most probably 10% male will leave this country because of the work. So what ratio will be? 60% you have a woman and 40% you have a man. Get my point? Then consequences of the change in the distribution. Then having more female. Okay. If you have more female, will encourage the birth rate to raise to increase the population growth. Then more female is employment will increase productivity. It could be the reason positive or negative, but you just have to give the reasons. More females in education and employment will increase the living standard. More balanced gender distribution can aid better social equality as social attitudes towards the woman and education and employment become progressive. If we talk about the like religion perspective, so it would be very tough for women to or the male to marry with a one woman. Then there will be plenty of women who will look for the man. It could be another reason. Then you have a geographic distribution. When people live, 90% of the world's population lives in a developing country. This puts a lot of pressure to the. Now, if you have a very huge amount of population, for example in Pakistan, what will be the consequences? It will put pressure on the scarce resources. Resources of what? Resources of production. Land, labor, capital. You don't have much capital. You don't have much valuable land to fulfill their basic needs. Now, if you have a too much population, like first we can discuss occupational distribution. What jobs people work in developed economies? More people work in the service sector, while in a less developed economy, most people work in agriculture. Like in Pakistan, in developing economies, there is a huge migration of the workers from primary production to the manufacturing and service sectors. Anyway, what kind of effects of increasing population size? Increasing the size of the home market, it could be the reason. Like when we compare it with India, why we said India has a huge market? Because it has around of 1 billion people. Okay. Then more economic growth. Of course, if you have a huge market, you have so many customers, economy will be boost. Okay. Increase the supply of the labor, then you have so many labors in the market. But it will put a pressure on the scarce resources. Okay. How you can fulfill their basic needs? It will be a huge challenge as India is facing at the moment. More capital goods required. You need more money to fulfill their basic needs. Okay. So that was point number 3. Now, the last topic is 5.4, which is difference in economic development between the countries. Economic development refers to the increase in the economic welfare through growth in the production scale and the wealth of economy. How economic you can say developed, how we can define it? It is referred to the welfare, the government investment to expand the developing economies to the developed economy. The developing countries are characterized by high GDP. Do you remember what was the high GDP? Gross domestic product. Per capita. Per capita means we are talking about their living standard. Okay. If they have more income, you can say the country is developed. Then underdeveloped economies, like less developing economies, they have very low GDP. Okay. Normally people rely on agriculture. It is very difficult for them to manage their educations, their basic needs. Then developing economies are the countries that are becoming more developed through the expansion of the industrial sector and the fewer people suffering the extremes of the poverty. They may attract high level of foreign investment and will be undergoing major economic shift toward the tertiary sector or the tertiary sector. The last things of 5.4, the reason of the low economic development. Again, the same things. High population growth could be the reason of low economic development. Then over dependence on agriculture, of course, already you have a very low economy, and then if you have a high population, so where you will get, you will depend on agriculture. Low level of saving. It would be very hard for them to maintain their living standard. It would be hard for them to save their incomes. Lack of capital. If you have a high population, it would be very hard and you need more capital to fulfill their basic needs. Poor investment in infrastructure, like at the moment in Pakistan, they invest at the place where they can get money. They don't have a priority that what that state particularly can get from their investments. Corrupt and unstable government. In low economic development countries, the government is unstable. Uncertainty that it could be the if, for example, if one party is in a government in that year, next year would be the different party. Like you can say there is no stability in the government, and more over you have a corrupt government as well. So that could be the reason of the low economic development. Ji Shariz.